and my sister Filipa, and we start living in Alentejo. So we were not born here, but we started living when we were 3 or 4 years old. And since the beginning, it was very nice because we saw all the business starting from zero until what is now the business. And it gave me a lot of interest for everything around this area. And my focus was mostly on vineyards and wines, is what I like most to do. So I studied high school until high school in Estremoz, and then I did the same university as my father. So when I was 18, I did the agronomic school in Lisbon for 3 years. Agronomic school, it's not, so my master was not in wine, my bachelor work was not in wine, was in agriculture in general. So I know as much as cows, as of grapes, as of sheep. But then I was thinking on doing my master in Lisbon, focused only in wine. And my mother told me, João, you know, sometimes it's nice for you to go and see what happens different in other countries. I think you should study outside of Portugal. I think it's a nice experience, you open your mind, you see different realities and so on. And I applied for a master in France that is called the Euromaster Vinifera. So it's a master of wine. I was lucky enough to get in. And it was very interesting because it was 30 people, 30 different students, and I think we had 22 countries or 21 countries, so it was fantastic. The teachers and the classes were, I think, as good as in Portugal, but the thing is, you learn a lot from other people's way of seeing the business and of seeing wine, and you learn all the types of wines people are making around the world. So for me, it was very interesting, that part. Then in France, I studied Montpellier and Bordeaux, and then I moved to Madrid, where I focused my master more in the vineyards, especially in dry climate vineyards. That's the climate we have here in Alentejo. So I had the help of a Spanish professor, that is José Ramón Izarragui, and he helped me a lot in my thesis, visiting a vineyard and so on. After the master, I went to Chile for a harvest there. I worked there for 3 months in Montes, Alfa, with Aurelio Montes. It was very nice. It was my second vintage, my second official vintage. The first one I did it in Spain with the professor, but was the first time I was working in a winery, in a huge winery, without being my own winery. So I learned a lot, and we saw see different approaches on the winemaking, and for me it was very important. After that, I came back to Portugal, and I started working with my father in our company. At the beginning, my father told me that my goal should be the connection between the field and the winery. So to have, it's important to know what grapes are going to produce what wine. And it's the most important job in this winery. It's to use the good grapes for the premium wines, and the fresher grapes for more easy drinking wines. And that was my job at the beginning, and it was very important for me to learn all the vineyards, what was the potential of the vineyards, how should we vinify them. It was very nice. And then slowly I kept on the company. Now I'm part of the board. I help the company in commercial aspects as well, especially in countries like I go a bit to Asia, United States, to Brazil. So we visit the countries, and that was it. And in the middle of all these years, I also, when we were suffering a lot with the lack of water in the crisis, in the drought, I went to South Africa, that they were experiencing even worse conditions, to learn how to survive, how to make a vineyard survive with so much lack of water and with so much heat.
Thank you. It sounds like you are 100 years old. You have done a lot of things. How old are you, may I ask?
I'm 28.
38?
28.
28, I mean, yes, you do. 28, yes, it's impressive. then we can but this company Consulvinus, is it yours company or is it part of the big company?
No, so it's I don't have any company. It's one of our companies that is make more so to say commercial labels. So it's not where we have our main brands, our traditional brands, so to say. It's a company where me and my sister interfere a bit more to make more young and commercial wines.
And it's you two siblings, you and your sister. You are two or more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she is also involved with in the wine.
More involved in the marketing.
Marketing,
area.
yeah. I see. And just Dad is still going on, or can he relax a little, or?
No, he has to work a lot.
No, it's difficult to stop. Yes, it's difficult. Okay, you said you were lucky in Portugal, as you was suffering so much from this virus. What about the restrictions? Did you have as many as in Spain, or was it lighter in that way?
So the government made on the 11th of March, if I recall correctly. Let me check. Yes, it was the middle of March. They told the companies to make homework mandatory. But we are an agriculture company, so we cannot make agricultural job from our homes, and we cannot produce wine from our homes. So what we made first was to see if we had the government allow us to keep working. But before we do that, we have to check if our employees were secure to keep working. So we made 2 shifts in the producing area, and we divided the people that working on the field in 2 groups as well to minimize the risk of contagion of spreading the disease. So we didn't stop on that area, and our employees that could work on a computer, the commercials, the financial parts, they went home and they kept working 100%, no stopping, but from their homes. That was the main measurements we took here at the winery. Of course, we stopped with the tourism because we have some guests who visit our wineries and so on. So we couldn't make it, and we started to sell more wine online than we were used to.
Yes. The selling online, was it through your own channels, or was it via new contacts? So how did it work?
Mostly through our website.
Yes.
We were already refreshing the website, and we had a plan of making a wine shop on the website, and we launched it during this time.
Okay.
Who are the customers? Are they from Portugal or is
mostly Portugal?
Yeah. Mostly Portugal.
Mostly Portugal. And mostly for the premium wines. Because so it's not huge volumes, but they buy our premium wines. They prefer to buy directly from the producer, the premium wine, than going to a wine shop.
But there were, about the normal selling in Portugal, how much did you lose?
So in Portugal, our main business is the restaurants, and the restaurants they are closed. So we lost those sales completely, and we saw an increase of some of the wines that we have on the supermarkets. Some of our wines they are available in supermarkets, and those ones they increased. Of course, the wines that people drink in the restaurants usually are the more premium wines. So we have much better results when we sell those wines than the ones that we are selling on the supermarkets. We have bigger margins.
And the restaurants, are they still closed?
They opened today. Today was the first day they allowed the restaurants to open. But many of them, they don't want to open because they can only work with half of the occupation. So they have no profit. So some of them, they are waiting a bit more. And now we have to wait a bit for the consumer to feel confident to go to the restaurants. But I think that will happen very soon.
Okay. So it hasn't been so big impacts for you so far, this?
No. It was a big impact, but we were lucky enough to be able to adapt. So we tried to adapt and to improve new ways of making business during this time.
And yeah.
No, that we don't.
And you have been keeping all the employed, your staff?
That was the most important thing for us, was because Portugal allow you to make a layoff of your employees. So if you had a drop on your results of your sales, you could put some of your employees at home, and the government will help you with part of the salary of the employee, but the employee will receive much less than if he was working. And we made our biggest effort so no one would go home. The only people we say, if you want to go home, you are free to go, were the people that could be on a risk group. And those ones, they could go home and they will receive the salary as 100%, but we understand they cannot work. And the ones that could work, they had to work during this time non-stop so far.
And what about thinking about the harvest? Do you think you can work as planned, or will there be problems that you're afraid of?
I think we'll find more difficult than on a normal year, but it will be in 2 or 3 months' time. I hope things are a bit better in this amount of time. And as we did for all the other areas, we will adapt. We will have the protections, we have the alcohol gel to clean your hands, we will have to wear masks, but we will adapt.
And I was also thinking about how you store your wine, for instance. If there are some wine left, are there any problems with the storing, or do you have space enough?
We have space so far, but we kept our sales almost as good as they were before. But the thing that we are afraid of is the small producers, that they can be without of space. It's something that can happen, and that they start to sell the wines very cheap. That can have a big impact on the future of a wine country like Portugal.
And you got no problems with the suppliers of, for instance, bottles, corks, or such things? Has it worked as you want to?
At the beginning, everyone was a bit afraid, and we felt some problems. But now everything starts to work. From the last month, everything worked perfectly. So the suppliers, they also made the health policies, so every worker was safe, and they kept producing the labels, the corks, the bottles, everything.
Sounds good. Okay. The next step for you, what will it be now? You are preparing for. Has it been a good spring with the weather conditions?
Fantastic spring.
Pardon?
Fantastic spring so far. So we were from the last 4 or 5 years, we were suffering a lot with the lack of water. And this year we had the most rainy spring I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And today, Sunday started the good weather. This Sunday, yesterday. Yesterday we started to have some heat. We had a normal year of rain. Usually, so the last years the average I would say it was 300 or 400 millimeters. This year we had almost 700. That is very good for us. Our water dams were empty. The vineyard was suffering a lot. Now they look much better.
Mm? So there is both good things and bad things, if you say. Yes.
Not every bad thing at the same time.
Yeah. And what will we see from you in the next release? We got last year La Strada. What more are you?
I don't think we are going to do many new releases. We want to become strong on the brands that we have already, because we started to have some. So we don't want to be that kind of company that is always making new brands. We want to have our brands and to put them on a stronger level and to have strong brands all over the world, not releasing too many every time.
Okay.
What we are doing now in the company is we start to make more and more parcel wines, premium wines. So we, as I told you before, the job to identify the best grapes and the best vineyards that I did at the beginning, we started to vinify those parcels together or alone, and we make some a premium Syrah, a premium Touriga Nacional. We make our best wine extremos. It's also from a small parcel. That is the things we want to focus now more and more.
And you still blend both your indigenous wines with a more common European, or is it some bigger interest for the local grapes?
So we have lots of interest in the local grapes and we like them a lot. And in the bad years, in the difficult years that we had before, the local grapes, we can see why they are local, because they were the one that better adapt. But we also like to make wines that the consumer identifies with, the international consumer. And for that we always like to use a bit of international grape varieties. But we are not planting, when we plant now a vineyard, we don't plant international varieties anymore. We go with our indigenous grape varieties. With Trincadeira, with Alicante, Aragonês. That's what we plant.
Traditional, if you say. But are there any very old variety that has become more popular during the last years?
I wouldn't say we are a country that we try to sell varieties, we try to sell regions. And I think our regions are more and more popular in the last years when it comes to the consumer outside of Portugal. So it's very hard to sell a wine and call it Aragonês or Castelão, but we can sell Alentejo. And when we make a bottle of wine here, we want to sell Alentejo and not a single variety. Even when we make those parcel wines, we are not trying to sell the Touriga or the Syrah. We are selling the soil that the vineyard is planted in. So we made those wines not because of the varieties, but because the soils, we found they were different and was giving different characteristics to the wine.
You also work very much with a sustainability program. Can you mention something about that as well?
So our company, we are most of our winemakers, all of our winemakers, we are agronomists. Before we are winemakers, we study agronomy. And we love the countryside, we love our land. And but we want, of course, that our business is profitable. That's a very important thing. But we want that the next generation be able to produce wine in our region as well. So what we do is we are converting many vineyards to bio viticulture because we believe it has a less impact on the environment. And when we do this, we have a decrease in yield, a very big decrease in the yield per hectare. But the quality is better and the impact on the environment is lower. What we do as well, we have our land and we don't plant vineyard everywhere. We like to protect some of the forests, some of the bushes, so we have all the insects and all the birds and all the flora indigenous to this region. Then we are very conscious on the use of the responsible use of water in the field and in the winery. Then we are starting to make lots of houses for the bats to eat the insects instead of using more not the insects, the moth. Mm-hmm. Because this way we are using less insecticide. So it's small things that if we have in our mind and we are doing, I think it makes a small detail that gives a big impact on the future. If every producer starts to be more responsible. Mm-hmm. Even in the bottles, we start to use more and more lightweight bottles because it's 1/3 of the amount of glass that you use to a heavy bottle. Many of our markets already ask us to use recycled carton on the box of the wine. So
and what about?
We buy some grapes and we rent some vineyards, and when we see one of the things we ask to the grape producer if he has a sustainable agriculture, and that for us it's a plus. So we will choose a responsible viticulturist than a non-responsible one.
Mm-hmm. What about the use of cork? What's the opinion about it?
So we are Portuguese. We are very proud of cork, but we don't sell. I don't have cork trees. So if I believe that screw cap was better than cork, I would use screw cap. But I actually believe that the cork for us in our wines, they make more sense and they make a better evolution on the wines. So especially on our red wines, when we make a red wine here, we want that the wine is drinkable, of course, but we want you to open the bottle after 10 years and you'll be surprised how good the wine is. And I think the best way to do it is to have a good cork. So more and more we keep going with the cork. But we only change if the market asks, please, can you give me this white wine, for example, in screw cap? We do as the market asks.
Yes, I think we have had a lot of answers. Else,
I have a
Elke,
question.
yeah.
Okay.
I would like to ask you, what do you think has come out of this period of time, of hard time now with the coronavirus? What did you actually learn something, start to think in another way with the vineyards in your work, or did you actually gain something also? It's not just a loss.
We gained a lot. So we learned a lot, and I believe that makes you win a lot. So we saw that even when things get difficult, we had an amazing team with us. That for us was a very big, very important understanding. Our team was all the time. If we can, we don't stop, and that for us is very important. We also learned that we can do a lot of home working with the internet and so on. Sometimes instead of travel, so we have wineries in 4 different regions all over Portugal, and sometimes we are all the time travel to see. Nowadays we use more and more the computer to see what's going on. We learn new ways of selling wine and how the online business is important. In the field, we kept a bit normal, so the field didn't felt the agriculture business didn't felt the coronavirus. No. Because the plants kept growing, so we had to do everything exactly. But inside the production part, we learned a lot. It was very productive for us. Very tough, but very productive.
Do you think that you meet the consumers closer today? Is it the future maybe that maybe you will meet the consumer direct on your website?
Yes, and we made many interviews like this with consumers where we will introduce the wines. Our export managers, they will talk with the sailing team of Brazil, for example. They will make a tasting with them all together, trying the wines. We do that many times personally. So we go there to visit the client. I think the wine is a business where the connection between people is very important. So I believe in the future we'll have to do this. We have to do this. We have to go to Sweden to visit our customers to ask how is everything going, if our wine is doing well, what do they feel. But even though we can make it this time, we saw that with the internet we can make amazing things. It's not as being present, but it's a big achievement. And I think the consumer now, as they were at home, many of the consumers were at home, and maybe they had more spare time, and we were not having lunch in half an hour because we could have a lunch of 1 hour or dinners. We were not every day very tired, so we could have a longer dinner. And people started to drinking more wine at home, I believe. And they wanted to learn more about wine, so they would go to assist to these Instagram tastings, to the Facebook tastings, this kind of conversation that we're having now. And that was important. That was very important.
So where is your company in 5 or 7 years? Where are you?
I hope very strong in Alentejo, in Douro, in Verdes and in Paras. So we want now to stabilize our business, to calm down a bit, to make better and better wines every year, and to become a stronger company with what we have.
That's great. Now I'm done with questions. Ursula.
I think I also done with questions, and I just want to thank you for participating and.